Hello everyone. Most of you probably know me from my gold mining adventures, but I also dig warbirds. So today we're going to hitch a ride on the B-24 Liberator by the Collings Foundation, the aircraft that's back here behind me, and we're going to go up for a ride. So come on over and let's take a look. The B-24 Liberator is a World War II bomber, 4-engine heavy bomber, used both in the Pacific as well as the European theaters. And it's a 4-engine bomber. You can see the Pratt & Whitney engines that are here. Radial engines on both sides. It carried a heavy bomb load, about 8,000 pounds or more, and could fly deep into Germany. And here's a perspective from the tail section of the airplane. You can see the gunning turret right here in the center. This actually pivots around, so this is the tail gunner's position. And we also, hiding behind the rudder here, the twin rudders, are the waist gunner positions as I move across over this way. And this is the waist gunner position on the left side of the aircraft. There's one also on the other side as well. The tail gunner section here, as well as the front gun section, has two 50 caliber machine guns to fire back at enemy aircraft. This is just a look at the nose turret. It has the same features as the rear turret as well, and defend the aircraft, especially for head-on attacks by the German Luftwaffe. Underneath the nose turret is the bombardier section. As we zoom in a little closer, you can see the Norden bomb sight apparatus underneath inside here. This is what the bombardier used to guide the aircraft over the target and release the bomb. So as we kind of move around, you can kind of get a different view, kind of a different perspective of that. It has to be a perfectly flat glass window, so that way it doesn't cause any kind of distortion while they're lining up on the target. Just under the wings is the bomb bays. And unlike traditional bomb bay doors on the Liberator, they roll up instead of drop down. So they kind of activate sort of like a fancy garage door. And of course underneath is the bomb racks that hold the bombs. Looking inside, you can actually see a couple of sample bombs that are hanging on the rack, ready to go. And there's the doorway out the bottom. Looking through the aft section of the aircraft, you can see the yellow oxygen tanks. This is what the crew used when they were flying at altitudes, especially as high at bombing runs as high as 25 to 30,000 feet. As we're coming up closer here, we can come up to the 50 caliber machine guns that were used to defend the aircraft from enemy fire. You can see as they're going out the window, as you can see, there's nothing out here. It's full open window here. There's no glass to protect anybody. So it's kind of breezy back here when this thing's flying. We can't quite get into the aft section at this time, but that is where the rear turret is. And again, we have more of the oxygen tanks here hanging up. They go through quite a bit of oxygen during a mission. Underneath on the floor here is the top part of the Sperry ball turret. That is another gunning position under the aircraft. When the aircraft is in flight, this thing is lowered by a crane, and of course a crew member gets inside and he operates the turret so that way he can defend the aircraft from below. This catwalk that runs from the aft section of the aircraft to the forward section. It's actually 12 inches wide, so you have to be quite a thin person to actually scoot between the bombs that are loaded on both sides of the rack here. As we walk down the alley here on the catwalk, it's very cramped quarters. It's really amazing that if anybody was in this aircraft when it was going down, say it got shot down and it was in a spiral spin, it's amazing how anybody was able to get out of this with all this debris in here. Very cramped quarters, very hard to get in here. Now we're going to walk our way right up here into the cockpit area, and up above is the cockpit. And you see it's quite roomy up there. They got quite a bit of windows from all the way from the top overhead all the way down, so they got good visibility. And then also we have other seats in the back here. And then down below is this section here that actually is kind of a crawl space that goes under the pilots and leads to the bombardier's position up in front. As you can see here, we have lots of cables and wires that all control the aircraft. This is World War II, so they didn't really have a lot of hydraulic actuation for control. It relied on cables. So all these cables right here control the flight surfaces in the back, and as well as the flaps and things of that sort. This is a hydraulic pump over here. Supplies hydraulic probably for the flaps and landing gear. Looking straight up overhead is the top turret gunner position. This is where he sits up here and spins around this turret so he can defend the aircraft from the top side. Looking forward here, this is going up towards the nose section. You can see the front landing gear right in the middle here, and then just beyond that is the bombardier's position. So to get up to the bombardier section, you actually have to kind of veer off to the right side and crawl your way up through that section into the bombardier position.
Remember the postcard rule?
No bleeding.
No bleeding on the aircraft. Good job. All right, so you, like I said, get up and walk around. Watch out for the cables. There's exposed cables and things, and those are cables going to the flying controls. So if you start grabbing those things, and you're not flying the airplane, and then two of us up front get kind of funny about that sort of stuff. You go all the way back to the tail. You see the tail turret that we were messing with back there. Crawl all the way up to the nose. If you're going to go across the bomb bay, there's a skinny catwalk between the bomb racks, and walk across that. Don't go off of that and step on the bomb bay doors, because those bomb bay doors, in theory, it says like 100 pounds of weight. They open up or pop out. Anyway, you don't want to test that, and you don't want to drop out of the airplane. If you're going to drop out of the airplane, we want to get a good video of it, so let us know. So careful on that catwalk, walking across. And as you come through, you can, once you get to, you can crawl up to the flight deck and stand behind the pilot and co-pilots, kind of look up around the turret. It's kind of neat up there. Or you can go down and crawl into the nose and get right up in here. So it's a little catwalk around the right side of the big nose wheel. And that big old thing is up there. If you get there early enough, it's still going to be spinning for takeoff. So stay away from that thing. And don't step on those red doors there. Again, you put the weight on the doors, you might be dropping out. Make sure we get good video before you drop out. And then it's going to be kind of cramped up here in the nose. You can crawl up in the nose turret if you want. But just, you guys, make sure you rotate around so that everybody gets a turn. Let's see. So if there's an alarm bell?
Sort of. Better people just can't say they don't hear it. So normally what we do is as soon as you get off the ground, you can get up. Unless there's someone screaming and yelling, telling you to sit back down, you can get up, wander around the airplane. Did you tell them 3 places they can't go?
Nope.
Okay. Can't go on the ball turret, the top turret, or outside.
The ball turret.
Outside is optional.
Yes, it's optional.
The ball, the one in the back is the ball turret?
Yeah, in the back, the lower one.
Okay. Oh, the lower one.
Yeah, you can go in the tail turret. You can sit in there, and if you want to try and get it straightened out without falling out, you're fine with that.
And you can, there's only one person can fit in here at a time, right?
No, you can get about 3.
Oh, yeah?
In the nose area.
Yeah.
Not the bombardier seat.
So here we are. We're inside the cockpit area here. Here's the front up that direction. You see that's cramped in this area. You imagine people out here trying to fly a mission, trying to get in and out of here, and or if the plane's going down, how to get out of this place. You see the folks up there in the cockpit.
He's not here. He's like in the nose.
He's going to go up on top of the cockpit so he can direct the aircraft. And you can hear how loud it is in here. It's pretty loud. He's going to climb up to the top of the airplane here. There he goes. So he'll be sitting out on top, directing traffic as he's or directing the pilot where to steer the aircraft, because the nose on this is so long he can't see over the front turret.